everyone, and welcome to my reaction to my 2021 goals and my 2022 goals video. So I am going to be recording myself watching my 2021 goals video and see just how well I did, how many things I failed, how many things I achieved, and just sort of reflect a little bit on that, and then also talk about my 2022 goals. So let's get into it. Okay, I've got it set up. Let's get watching.
To the 2021 goals. So the first one I'm going to say again is read 60 books. I'm always going to say 60 because that is just over one a week, like I said in the video. So that feels achievable to me.
So I've read over 180 books this year, and most of them are graphic novels. I don't have full stats at the moment because I'm going to be leaving that for my 2021 stats video that I'll be doing in January. But there's I read a lot of graphic novels this year because Marvel released WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and Hawkeye, and just on Disney Plus. And then there was obviously Black Widow, Shang-Chi, then The Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home. And I have been mainlining all of those comics on top of a whole load of other comics as well, like Dawn of X and things like this. So yeah, I read a lot of comics this year. I've also read quite a few books. Again, I don't know the stats for this, but I've read a fair amount, to say the least. So I'm going to say I achieved that goal very well, considering I tripled my goals for this. So not too bad on that one. Definitely achieved that.
To read more sci-fi, I'm going to aim for 10 this time because that feels reasonably achievable. That's near.
Let me have a quick check on my reading spreadsheet. Actually, I don't think I've read 10. I'm pretty sure I haven't read 10. 6 sci-fi, not as good as I was hoping, but if we scroll over to the subgenres, then I've read 38. I'm going to count that because subgenres count. Like, subgenres definitely count here, so I've smashed that goal. If we're talking just pure sci-fi that isn't like a graphic novel or anything, then I've read 6, which is more than it was in 2019, so I'm counting that as a win. It's a reasonable win.
What to do is read more retellings because this year I sucked at retellings, as you can clearly tell by the retellings bingo board being practically empty.
Let's go back, shall we? How many retellings did I actually read? Retelling, I read 2.5% of my reading was retellings, which isn't that much. I read bugger all on the retellings again. Because even though TBR Assembled gave me the retelling section, I just sort of went with whatever I wanted to read anyway. That wasn't a retelling. So I think I'm going to have to tighten up the rules a bit and be like, no, when it says retelling, read a retelling. So this is fun. That was a fail. That was an abject fail.
Or fanfiction, but I keep on saying this, but again, I've got like 20 pages worth of fanfic saved on my Archive of Our Own account, and I haven't read them yet.
I read fanfiction this year, but I mostly just kept up with the updates that kept on coming into my inbox. And then I've probably nearly doubled my watch later list on Archive of Our Own. Yeah, that one didn't work because I didn't prioritize it, quite frankly. It came up nearly every single month, and what I'd do is just read whatever was in my inbox and then completely ignore literally everything else on my watch later. So yeah, I didn't manage that because that's what I was doing anyway. So next year I'm going to have to prioritize the watch later because it's called watch later. It's read later, but it says watch later. It's very weird, but I'm going to have to prioritize the stuff I've saved. Definitely going to have to prioritize that.
Older books of the TBR, because I've got quite a few books now that are very old on my TBR that's been there either since childhood or at least the last 5 years since I started reading books again. So I'd like to get a few of those off the lists just so they're off the list, essentially.
The thing that comes to mind is the fact that I've read Tangle Wreck, which has been on my TBR for a good 12 years. So I have managed that. I did try to read The Darkest Rising, but DNF'd it. I did manage a few. I didn't manage as many as I wanted, but I did get a few, so I'm gonna say that was semi-done. I'm gonna say I semi-achieved this one, because I did manage a few, but I didn't manage as many as I wanted, but I did get a few really old books off the TBR by either, like, unhauling them, reading them, or DNFing them. It all counts.
I'm gonna say on that front, I've got to stop ignoring comics from other publishers, because at the moment I'm mainly focused on Marvel.
I mainlined Marvel comics this year. Like I said, there were so many adaptations of so many of their comics that I naturally just mainlined all of them. As for other publishers, I've read a lot of manga, which is not done by Marvel, so I did that because I've been getting a whole load from the library. I've read Low, which is not from Marvel. I read a Witcher comic as well. But mostly I haven't done that. I read a couple of Fables. I have not made any sort of progress with Rat Queens, but I do want to reread the series and then, like, start getting the rest of them, because after Volume 6, I think it is, that person who was an awful human being is taken off the team and it's somebody else. So, I do want to continue that series because I do really enjoy it. I've just got to get on with it, but I just haven't yet, so I need to get on that. And I've got a whole load of others that I have bought that I haven't read yet. Oh, I did read Something is Killing the Children, or started that one, and I read a couple of others as well that weren't from Marvel, so I have managed a few, but I wouldn't say I've knocked down that TBR any further. I'd still say that the TBR on that front is absolutely huge, and I'm just not there yet. I am not there yet on that one, but I am working on it.
I want to use the library more.
I haven't stepped foot in it. Instead, I've been using the Libby app instead, which has been a complete godsend, because while it doesn't have everything that's at the library on there, it's got a hell of a lot on there, and I've been requesting books all the time for, like, mangas and all the rest of it. Actually, I've read Paper Girls from the library as well. I forgot that. I've read Paper Girls, so that goes towards the non-Marvel comic goal as well, so I'm quite happy on that one. But, I haven't physically gone into the library, but to be fair, my local village library has been closed this entire year, and it is also attached to a primary school, and schools are where it is a main transmission vector place, so I have not gone near it, quite frankly. Even if it was open, I'd be like, no, I'm not going near it. I still have a problem with touching things and all the rest of it, so it has been a pure online thing. But I have been using the library, so I'm going to count that this one has been done, because I have used the library this year, just not in person. But I have managed to use it and support my library. I just haven't gone in person, but it still counts because it was online and it's all part of the library system. So I'm counting this as done.
As for some channel goals, I do have a couple of channel goals and sort of like booktube community type goals. The first one is I really want to start talking to people more, because I am a lurker.
I've done this because I have been talking to Hannah, Ali, Abby, Lizzie, and a whole lot of others as well, all part of the Dead Famous Read Along. All year we have monthly live shows, so I've been talking to them then. Me and Abby have been messaging each other a lot. We even met each other this year in real life, which was epic when I went to Newcastle. I've been talking to all of them, loads and loads and loads, so I have definitely counted on this one. I am still terrible at lurking on people's videos and not commenting, and I'm still terrible at not opening up conversations as well as I would hope on Twitter, but I am definitely working on it. I've also been commenting a lot on Instagram, so I've been doing it on Instagram, not Twitter. Don't know why, but I have made a lot of progress with this.
Host a readathon at some point.
I did not host a readathon this year, but I did host a read-along. I co-hosted a read-along. I'm still co-hosting a read-along. It's the Dead Famous read-along. I bang on about it a lot. So I've done that one. I've done something adjacent to that. This year has been quite a lot mentally, so I just haven't really had the mental bandwidth to do a readathon, but quite frankly, I'm very happy with the read-along, so very happy with that.
The last thing I have to mention is the reading challenges, because there's a few of them. I like doing reading challenges, and hopefully this time next year I'll look at this video again. So the first one I have to mention is the science fiction and fantasy badge-a-thon.
I didn't do this at all. I completely forgot, and I completely dropped off that one, so didn't do that one.
Turtle Recall again.
I read one Discworld novel this year. And I'm still quite happy with that because I've still made progress with Discworld. Like I said there, I want to stretch it out as far as possible. I know there is a Discworld read-along happening where they're going to be reading one book a month in chronological order. I am part of that Discord now, but I'm not going to be taking part every single month or anything. But when they're going to be reading a book I haven't read, I may jump in on it. I don't know. I'll see how TBR Assemble goes and how my month is going and all the rest of it. But I definitely want to read more like Discworld this year, but not too much. As always, it's that read a little but not too much thing. But quite frankly as well, all of the Discworld novels are getting re-released over the next 2 years on audiobook with an all-star cast, so I may check those out because I'm now into audiobooks. So I'll see what happens there. I may do that, I may not. But we'll see. Essentially, I am quite happy with how many Discworld books I read. I did keep up with it. I just didn't read as many as I thought I would, but that's fine. That is absolutely fine. It just means I get longer with Terry Pratchett that I haven't read yet.
And the final two I have to mention are the Avengers reading challenges. Now, there are two of them, which probably is going to get confusing.
So I've done one of them. I completely dropped the other one because I was like, this is getting too confusing. Can't do both. So I decided to go with the Avengers reading challenge that is hosted with like monthly bingo boards and everything else. I'll leave a link to the Twitter down below so you can check it out. I absolutely loved doing this reading challenge this year. It has been the greatest fun ever. I have loved every single second of it. It's been a great joy to do, I've got to admit. I'm so happy that it's going to be carrying on next year. It's going to be slowing down a little bit next year, so it's not going to be like new boards and boss battles every single month. It's going to be like every other month, but that's absolutely fine. I have loved taking part and gaining all of the Avengers. I'm currently in the middle of the boss battle at the moment for Endgame, so I've lost half of my Avengers, and I'm sort of getting them again, but I've gotten a good chunk of them. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm sort of slowly working my way through, and whoever I don't get, I'll just re-get next year. That's fine. But I have genuinely really loved taking part in this. It has been the greatest time ever. The creators are amazing, and they are geniuses in my mind for everything that they've done this year, and everything. I've absolutely loved it. So I've definitely done that one as well. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm not going to say which reading challenges I'm doing this year, quite frankly, because I haven't decided for 2022, apart from obviously continuing on with Avengers Reading Challenge and Turtle Recall if that's happening again. But apart from that, I don't know. I haven't really looked at the reading challenges yet. I'm gonna like check that out probably later on this week. But I'll probably update you on that one either in January or in my bullet journal flip through, which I'm hoping to have up after Christmas. But we'll see what happens on that one. I've definitely got plans for that. I've got stuff to go up on the Etsy store and all the rest of it. I've just got to make it essentially and plan it all out. Well, I've got it planned out. I just need to make it. But that's another thing entirely. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That's quite good. So now back to Big Me, where we can talk about my 2022 goals.
Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how I did it with my goals. There's a couple that I could have done better on, but overall I am quite happy. So as for my 2022 goals, my first one is to read 60 books. I always say 60. I feel like that's a really achievable number for me because that averages out at a book a week plus 8 comics, which is definitely something I can do. Obviously, I want to continue upping my number of diverse authors that I read each month. I've done pretty well with it this year. I've got to admit it is better than last year, but I still want to continue on with that and sort of keep on upping it so it keeps on growing essentially, and I'm not going to be happy until it's like 50-50, so I'm going to be continuing upping with that. I don't have exact numbers at the moment because obviously I'm still reading books, but I will be doing a stats video at the beginning of next year where I can really go into the exact numbers. I just know at the moment I want to carry on upping that. My next goal is I want to read at least 3 retellings because I keep on failing on the retellings front. I really suck at retellings, quite frankly, so I want to read at least 3. I feel like that is an achievable goal. That is 1 every 4 months, and if I can't manage that, then I don't know what's happened, essentially. So I want to read at least 3. If I read more than that, fantastic. If I read 3, that's 3 off the shelf. I also want to get more organised with my Etsy store. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do that now, because I now actually have a tablet where I can do a lot of like the drawing and things, and not having to deal with like paper and scanning in paper and trying to cut things out and all the rest of it. It was an absolute nightmare essentially. And now that I've also got a new camera where I can actually see what I'm recording, it means I can also film flip throughs and things like this, which is just going to make my life 10 times easier. So hopefully I'm going to be able to do that, and I'll actually be able to upload things bullet journal wise to the Etsy store more often now, or at least manage the at least 4 new things a month essentially. So that is the current goal. So I've been working on that already, but I definitely want to knuckle down and organise that properly next year. And that's also including like advertising and stuff, which sort of works into my next goal, which is to work more on TikTok. Over the last couple of months I've really fallen off TikTok, quite frankly. I haven't had that much time to be on there anyway, watching stuff, let alone making stuff. So I definitely want to work on both of my TikTok accounts and post at least once a day on both of them. I have a plan for my bullet journal bookish one. As for my Marvel general fandom one, I'll have to figure that out, because obviously I think from now on we have nothing coming out for the next like 6 months or something, until like May. So I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I will figure that out when we get there. Essentially I'll probably do a whole load of comic book stuff, but we'll see what happens. Either way, I do want to work more on my TikTok account. I also want to continue working through the older books on my TBR, because I have a whole load of backlist stuff I just haven't gotten to yet, which is completely ridiculous, and I need to get through some of that. So I want to continue working on the backlist. I'm not going to put an exact number on there, but I just want to read more. I also want to finish at least 4 series, because I've got so many series just sort of half finished and all the rest of it. So I want to finish at least 4 of these. I may aim for 4 comic series and 4 like novel series. I may actually do that, so 4 of each, because I've got a lot outstanding on both of these, but we'll see what happens. I know I will be finishing Skullduggery next year, which is scary, quite frankly, because I've been reading this series since I was about 11, but it needs to be done. I'll probably also be able to finish Champions next year, stuff like that. So I've got a couple that I will probably be able to finish, but apart from that, I do want to finish a couple of others, or at least catch up with them. So that is a definite must. And then my final one is I want to cut down my Archive of Our Own list, because it is scarily long. I'm talking it's about 40 pages long at the moment, and I just keep on adding to it and never really getting through it. So I want to cut that down a little bit, even if that means I add more later. I just want to make an effort to cut it down a bit. And what I want to do is either read a long series in like fan fiction, or a long fanfic that I've been putting off for literal years now. That is the goal. And that is the end of my 2022 goals. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what some of your goals are for next year, or if you achieved any of your goals this year, or if you don't have that much time, leave me a book related emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, and to my bookish Etsy and Redbubble store, which sells bookish goodies and bookish bullet journal stuff. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!